Hello, my name is Christine and I'm 26 years old. Today I want to tell you about the most insane and heartbreaking thing that has ever happened to me. But before that, I do want to preface this by saying that I was young and lonely when I made my decision to marry my ex-husband. I've learned a lot since then, and since I'm in a better place now, I would like to share my experience. I was only 23 when I met my ex-husband, Brad. I was fresh out of college, and all the friends I had were either busy with their own lives or moved out to bigger cities in search of jobs. While I could have left, there was always something so special about home that made me stay. I found a job that allowed me to work from home, and after work hours, I pretty much had nothing to do. One day, I decided to go down to the bar and enjoy a nice glass of wine. It was really an excuse to get out of the house. I was on my second glass of wine when I was approached by Brad. He just asked me if the seat in front of me was taken, and I said no. He then sat with me at my table and we sat in silence. I will be honest and say that I was a little creeped out by him at first. He looked like he was at least 25 years older than me, and I didn't want to be hit on, but he started a conversation with me and I found him intriguing. "Hey there." "Hi." "I'm sorry, but I just had to come over and tell you that you look really beautiful." "Oh, thanks. You look good too." "Thanks. My name's Brad." "Nice to meet you. I'm Christine. You don't look like you're from here." "Oh, really? What gives me away?" "Well, for starters, you are in a bar wearing a suit. I can tell you, I have only ever seen men who are on business trips do that here." "Bingo, you got me. I'm here on a business trip. What about you then?" "Are you from around town?" "Oh yeah, I was raised here and I plan on staying here till I'm gone." "Don't you ever want to move?" "No, I'm way too attached to this place." "Well then, are you telling me that I'll be able to meet you a lot more?" "I don't know. Aren't you married? I mean it in the nicest way possible. You're a lot older than me and you seem like you're married." "I know I look older, but believe me, I'm as single as they come. It's really hard to meet women who I actually connect with nowadays. Everyone's either married or fresh out of a divorce. I just want to hang out with someone who I can joke around with and not worry about anything, you know?" You're telling me. Guys my age only want one thing, and that's to get in bed with me." "Okay, how about this? I'll be in town till the weekend. Why don't you give me your number and we can go on a date? If we like it, we can hang out some more whenever I come into town." "And I don't like it?" "We'll just call it quits and delete each other's numbers from our phones." "All right, I'm down for that." The date, the next day, was amazing. Even though I had been apprehensive at first, I decided to actually give Brad a shot. Before I knew it, Brad and I began dating. Of course, there was always one point of contention, and that was his busy schedule of travel. He was constantly traveling on business trips, and I hated that. I only got to spend 2 weeks a month with him, and I wanted more. At the start of our relationship, we fought a lot about it. But Brad would always make up for his absence with gifts for me when he returned. Eventually, I got used to his routine and just rolled with it because I loved him so much. After about a year of dating, Brad asked me to marry him. I know what you're thinking. That's way too soon to get married. I realize that now and completely agree, but at that time I truly believed that I found my soulmate. Brad understood me like no one else ever did, and it didn't matter that we had only spent 1 year together. So I said yes to him, and a month after he proposed, we eloped. The next year and a half was the most blissful time of my life. Of course, Brad's routine remained the same, but whenever he did come into town, we'd always have some activity or the other planned. We planned out hiking, beach days, resort vacations, you name it, we did it. In my mind, that only added to Brad's charm. I was happy and I thought I was living the dream. But all that came crashing down when one night I was trying to order some food for Brad and me on his phone, and I got a text from a contact called Wife Main. I was shocked to my core when I went through the chats and I didn't know how to behave. Brad kept asking me if everything was all right, but I just told him that I was feeling a bit sick. Brad ended up eating something and lying in bed next to me. I waited until he fell asleep to do my research. What I found on his laptop left me in shambles. I quickly closed the laptop and returned it to its original place and drove to my best friend Tracy's place. It was pretty late at night, but I didn't care. I must have looked like a mess because when she opened the door, Tracy looked really concerned for me. "Oh my gosh, what happened? We really need to talk." "Yeah, of course, come in. I'm so sorry to come over unannounced like this." "Shush, you're always welcome here whenever you want. Now tell me what's wrong." "Okay, so I was using Brad's phone yesterday. I was just trying to order some food for us because my phone was in the other room and I was too lazy to get it. Anyway, Brad got a text from some contact called Wife Main." "Wife Main? What does that even mean?" "Right. That's what I thought as well, so I scrolled through the chat and realized that Brad had been cheating on me." "Huh? Backtrack a little and explain to me in detail." "Well, the messages between them were very lovey-dovey. They sent a lot of cute and, well, explicit pictures to each other as well. He was telling her the same things he told me, like he loved her more than he loved anything else, how he'd burn the world down for her. You get it." "Oh my God, that's horrible." "Cheat. It gets way worse." "Oh no, what do you mean?" "After Brad went to sleep, I decided to do a little digging on his laptop. I found out who this main wife was. Her name is Samantha and she lives in the next town. Turns out they've been in a relationship for 10 years and they have kids." "What? Holy crap. Wait, so does that mean you were the side woman?" "Apparently. I'm so broken and hurt, Tracy. I don't know what to do with myself anymore. I can't even begin to imagine what you're going through. It takes a lot to be as messed up as Brad." Wow, how did he even keep the charade up for so long? "Well, he always had his business trips, remember? Everything feels like a lie to me. I just want to lay in bed and cry for the rest of my life. What did I do to deserve this?" "No, you're not going to let that consume you right now. You have only one thing to do now." "What do you mean?" "You have to get even. Go to where his family is and reveal yourself. Create a PowerPoint for all I care about. But you need to ruin his life." "I don't know if I can. Just the thought of him makes me want to cry." Channel the sadness into anger. He didn't only ruin your life, but also his other wife and his kids. This is not how it should be. You can't let him get away with this." "You're right. Do you think you could help me out?" "Of course." Tracy and I spent the next few hours brainstorming ideas and planning out what to do to get back at Brad. I wanted to hurt him in the same way he hurt me. I couldn't even begin to imagine how Samantha and his kids would feel when they found out just how much of a scumbag Brad was. With a little bit of looking into Samantha, Tracy and I were able to find out that she was organizing a birthday party for Brad the following week. So I already knew that Brad would tell me that he had a business trip to go on. Tracy and I decided that I would do a grand reveal of Brad and I's relationship at that party. Tracy told me to send her all the pictures I have with Brad, along with the timestamps and locations so she could compile them into a slideshow. I was grateful for her help because without it, I would have just been wallowing in self-loathing. After a little more planning, I went back home. Brad was still fast asleep. The sight of him made me want to throw up, but I knew better than that. I somehow managed to fall asleep that night. The next morning, to no one's surprise, Brad told me that he had some bad news to give me. "Hey, honey, I have some bad news." "Oh, no. Are you going on another business trip? Yeah, it's an important client that my boss needs me to get for the business. But it's your birthday next week. You were supposed to be off. I know, and I feel really bad that we can't celebrate it together. Well, when will you be back? In about 2 weeks. Oh, isn't that a long time? Usually you're gone for a week. Yeah, but when I get back, you'll have me for 2 weeks. Really? Oh yeah, my boss agreed to me doing a 2-week straight business trip for 2 weeks in town. Okay then. I mean, it still sucks that you won't be here on your birthday. Is there any way for me to travel with you? I have vacation days that I need to use up. I could always take the next 2 weeks off so we could celebrate your birthday. No, absolutely not. Whoa, why? Well, I'd be way too busy to actually spend time with you. I'm sure you could make some time for us to celebrate your birthday. No, I don't think I'll be able to because, I have a big meeting scheduled on that day. Oh, that's okay. Just get back soon, okay? Of course. I tried my best to act normal. I couldn't afford him catching on to what I knew. I acted as disappointed in his business trip as I could. As soon as he left the house, I put my plan into motion. I met up with Tracy and we went shopping for my clothes. The party was full of Brad's family and what looked like business friends. Anyways, Brad saw me and ran up to me with a look of panic on his face. Christine, what on earth are you doing here? Oh, happy birthday, babe. I just thought that I'd come over and wish you well. Surprise. Thank you, but you need to leave. Was your big meeting just a birthday party for you? How could you hide that from me? I didn't know this was happening until yesterday. You could have still called me, you know. Christine, please, don't make a scene and just leave. But it's your birthday. I want to spend time with you. I love that you thought of surprising me, and believe me, I'm very surprised, but I really, really need you to leave. Nonsense. Introduce me to the people here. Let me meet my husband's friends and colleagues. That will not be happening. Just leave before anyone else sees you. Why are you so afraid of someone else seeing me? I'm your wife, aren't I? Of course, but you know I don't like my personal and professional life getting mixed up. So get out of here soon. I spent so much time and effort on you, and this is how you're treating me? Are you serious? Please lower your volume. I'll make it up to you, I promise. Oh crap, I need to go. I was confused about why he had to go suddenly, but looked towards where he looked before leaving me. There, I saw Samantha approaching me with a look of confusion on her face. What is going on here? Who are you? Hi, Samantha, I'm Christine. I'm someone that you should know about. Huh? What are you talking about? You see, we both know someone in common. Your husband and I are really close. Oh? How do you know my husband? Well, you see, he came over to my town a lot, and we happened to meet at a bar. He told me he was single, and even though he was a lot older than I'd usually go for, he was a nice man. He treated me right. What are you saying? My husband would never. Brad is very, very against cheating of all kinds. He even runs an NGO for victims of cheating who have no support or places to go. Why, that's pretty ironic, isn't it? Listen, I know that Brad has a lot of people who hate him, and this is one of your tactics to put him down. It will never work. Brad has fought against everyone who tried to accuse him of cheating for years. Wow. Is this how he's been keeping you next to him? He just manipulates you over and over again so that you'll never believe a word anyone says against him. Okay, you're crossing way too many lines here. I'm going to have you escorted out of here. Look, I just wanted to tell you that I came here for a big reason, and I wanted you to know what Brad has been up to behind your back. While you take care of the kids all alone for weeks while he's gone, he and I are cuddling back in my place. Shut up. Stop saying that. Brad would never. Oh, really? Well, I have some proof for you. Why don't you just look over at the screen there? Samantha looked at me with rage, but I kept looking over at the screen so that she would follow my lead. Eventually, she turned her head when she began to hear whispers from the guests all around her. She looked up at the screen and her face fell. I could see all the questions she had written all over her face, and honestly, nothing was more satisfying than seeing her finally understand how disgusting of a man Brad was. On the screen was a slideshow of all of Brad and I's milestones. They were pictures of us at the bar, pictures of us on dates, pictures of us on vacations at various resorts and beaches, pictures of us kissing, a picture of the day we eloped and got married, and for good measure, I even put in a picture of our marriage certificate. I left nothing to be questioned about because I even had the picture timestamps put on to ensure that nobody would think I was a liar. The guests were all whispering among themselves as they stared at the screen and then at Samantha. Samantha looked red in the face. She walked towards the front of the hall and the crowd parted as if they were the Red Sea. Brad tried to walk away, but I ran towards him and blocked his path. He was going to face the consequences of his actions. Samantha quickly announced the end of the night and requested that all the guests leave. The guests slowly filed out, and in the meanwhile, Samantha and I just glared at Brad. Brad was sweating profusely and kept trying to calm us down by telling us it was all a misunderstanding. As soon as the last guest cleared the room, Samantha erupted. She began yelling at him and asking him how it could have all been a misunderstanding. Brad tried to reason with her and told her that she had gotten too old and boring. He only pursued me because he wanted to experience some fun. The disgust I felt in me at that time was enormous. I wanted to puke. How vile did someone have to be to leave his wife and kids at home and start another relationship, all because he was bored? I didn't want to hear any more from him or listen to what Samantha was going to say because I knew I'd only make myself feel worse. I was happy that I brought Brad's disgusting behavior to light, and I felt like that was all I needed to do. I walked away and went back to Tracy's. I held my tears in until I reached Tracy's place. Once I was there, I broke down and cried like I never had in my life. It felt all too real that my relationship and marriage had finally ended. Tracy was glad that our plan worked out and happy that I was out of a crappy relationship. I stayed with her for the next 2 weeks. She helped me cope with everything that had happened and was a shoulder for me to cry on. I'm truly grateful for her because I don't know what I would have done without her. By the end of the second week, staying at her place, I got a call from Brad. I went against my better instinct to ignore the call and pick it up. "What have you done?" "What do you mean, Brad? Don't even... You've ruined my life. Just like you ruined mine and Samantha's and your kids. I see no difference. You could have just talked to me about it. And what would that have gotten me? More heartbreak? What would that have done for Samantha? You would have just found someone else to sleep with while your wife took care of everything back home. I simply did what was right. No, you ruined everything. My perfect life, my perfect job, my perfect family, all gone. All because of you. Did I force you to cheat? Did I ask you to abandon your family? Did I ask you to marry me? Did I ask you to lie? No. All I ever did was be faithful and kind and loving towards you. And how did you pay me back? With the most disgusting lie of all. You did this all to yourself. I only exposed everything. I know I made some mistakes, but this is not what I deserve. Some mistakes? Brad, everything about you is a mistake. I don't even know how you made it this far into life without ever being caught. But you know what? You're right. You don't deserve this. You deserve much worse. I treated you so well, and this is how you repay me? Everything you did for me was a lie. Our whole relationship was a lie. How did you ever plan on keeping this up? Either Samantha or I would have found out at some point. What would you have done then? That was a problem for me to deal with later on. You had no right to interfere. Oh, I definitely had all the rights to interfere. I was the other woman. You know how I feel about cheating, and not only did you cheat on me, but you made me the other woman. You're absolutely vile, and I hope you get nothing in life from now on. All your stuff's packed, and I've mailed them to Samantha's place. I never want to see or hear from you ever again. Bye. The nerve that Brad had to blame me for ruining his life was really astounding. How could he have been so blind to the way his actions had affected so many people? I was super proud of myself for standing up to Brad. I knew what I had done was right, if not for me, then definitely for Samantha and her children. And I got the confirmation for that when 2 days later, Samantha called me. She thanked me profusely for exposing Brad and humiliating him that way. She told me that she always had an inkling that Brad had been cheating on her, but never found any concrete proof against him. She told me that not only was she getting a divorce, but she was also going to fight for full custody of the children, the battle for which wouldn't be hard considering Brad was barely there at home to even look after the kids. She also told me that Brad had been kicked out of the very organization he started because none of the members wanted him affiliated with them. All in all, I'm happy that Brad got to learn this lesson. I'm happy that Samantha and her kids will be able to live better now without worry of when Brad will come back home. As for Brad, I don't know what he's up to these days. It's been about a year since everything went down. Samantha got full custody of her kids and is living pretty well with her family. We've also become good friends in the process, and I visit her every now and then. Brad skipped town and nobody knows where he is. Even though I'm really curious about his whereabouts, it's definitely for the better that I don't know. Life is finally beginning to become normal, and I'm glad that I overcame the biggest nightmare in my life with ease, and that was all thanks to the people that stood by me the entire time. Thanks for listening to me today.